Welcome. I am Councilwoman Schipske. I represent the 5th Council District in Long Beach, and we're here today in the heart of the city to talk about an important topic that is really near and dear to a lot of people in the 5th Council District, and that's about sidewalks. We're very fortunate to have two gentlemen who represent the Precision Concrete Cutting Company, and the significance about you being here is that the city is doing a pilot project in terms of how it's repairing some of the raised sidewalks. So I want to take a moment and have you introduce yourself.
My name is Matt Haines. I basically help our local branch operations, just give them support in terms of their operations.
And Jared?
My name is Jared Taylor. I as well provide a lot of support for the local branches out here in California, more on the technical end and mechanical end of more of the machinery end of the equipment.
Well, let's talk about the machinery and the equipment and,
Sure.
and what is you do. Can you explain to our viewers how you repair a sidewalk that is raised? And obviously, from a city point of view, we're very concerned about that because people trip and fall, and they hurt themselves. Also, it's very unsightly in front of the house. And so what is it that you do that's different than how sidewalks are usually repaired?
Currently, the key methods are going to be removing and replacing a slab, or grinding it, or asphalt patching. Those are typical ways that they solve the problem, solve the displacement issue. We use a horizontally mounted saw blade, which is on an angle grinder. We have a couple patents in place that basically, on a technological end, which Jared can, probably talk better towards, enable us to do the type of cutting that we do and give the level of ADA compliance that we're able to deliver.
Let's explain what ADA is.
The Americans with Disabilities Act is a key driver for the cities to have us do the work. The reason is because, there are trip and fall accidents, liabilities. Back in 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed by Congress. It was basically, with regard to sidewalks, it specifies that anything over a 1/4 inch and higher basically needs edge treatment. And when you're talking about sidewalks, the ground settling or the tree roots that cause the displacements are the typical culprits.
So when you come and look at a sidewalk, what is the parameter? So a 1/4 inch to what height would it be that you would decide to saw it down?
We are able to cut up, to the whatever height you want us to cut to, but typically on a standard sidewalk in a residential area, sidewalk's usually 4 inches thick, but most of the time it's 3.5 inches thick.
Really?
And so we can cut up to 2 inches because we don't want to take away more concrete than we're leaving behind.
Right.
That will kind of affect the integrity of the concrete if we're taking too much away. So.
And when you cut, you're cutting actually at an angle. Is that correct? So that what is left is a slope?
Exactly. And what we try to accomplish here is there are 4 aspects, that comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Is that slope is one of them, so that slope is in compliance with ADA.
Right.
The second one is we're able to cut to both edges of the sidewalk. If there's a retaining wall or a fence on the edge, we're able to get all the way up against that edge where other methods aren't able to do that with grinding or even patching. There's still kind of a lip there.
Well, and patching is not considered to be a repair of the sidewalk.
Right.
It's simply kind of a temporary until something else can be done with it.
Exactly.
Right.
The other 2 aspects that we also meet are the surface of the concrete. After we finish the cut on the trip hazard, there's still enough friction there to where it's not slippery. It's not considered a slip hazard after we're done cutting the trip hazard. And then the 4th aspect is we're able to meet a 0 point of differential between the 2 adjoining slabs.
So that there's not an additional area where someone could probably catch themselves and tumble. And you mentioned about that it's the surface is smooth, but it's not to the point you can slip on it.
Right.
But it is much smoother than what happens after grinding.
Exactly.
And sometimes on surfaces that have had grinding on them, people do trip on that because there's little tiny raisings. It's amazing when you look at to see what's inside concrete. Someone asked me the other day
aggregate.
when you came in and you did that demonstration at the Parks Department. They said, well, where did they put that in there? I said, no, that's what's actually inside the concrete slab, and it's a variety of rocks and other materials. When
you either grind or you use a saw cutting method, as we do, to take care of those trip hazards, you're going to expose that aggregate, which the rocks will sink into the mix as it's drying, and so you will expose those rocks there. But we try to leave, our goal is to leave a smooth, uniform appearance where there's not a risk of trip and fall accidents.
And how long does it take to repair a slab, a typical slab?
Well, a full crew typically can do over 100 locations per day. And it really varies in height, and the height of the trip hazard determines how far back, as Jared was describing, to give an ADA compliant slope. And so it really depends on how high it is, but we like to think that we can do them between 10 and 30 minutes.
Yeah, some can take even as little as 5 minutes to do, but then others, like you said, 30 to 40 minutes, just depending on the size of the trip hazard.
The other good thing that I noticed that you do is that when you go out to repair, when you're given a list of things to repair, you also then come back and tell the city if you see something that needs to be replaced, which you don't do, so that the city is also getting kind of an inventory at the same time when you're out there.
Yeah, well, when we submit invoices to the city after we're finished cutting, if there's a trip hazard, say that's 2.5 or 3 inches tall, that's raised by a tree root or sunken, we will flag those areas and submit those along with the invoice, so that the city's aware of those locations, so they don't have to do the surveys. We're doing the survey for them. Yeah,
we're there already. We can add that value to the city.
And the average cost to fix to go in there and cut a slab is about what?
Depending on the city specifications, if we're going to take care of, as I believe we are here in Long Beach, taking care of anything under an inch and a half, around $25.
And do you know how that compares with if they went in to do a asphalt patch or grinding?
We like to be analogous with asphalt patching and grinding, but really the real value is we're going to give a permanent solution that's ADA compliant as ADA compliant as what removing and replacing it would be at just a small fraction of what the real cost of removing and replacing a sidewalk slab would be.
How long has your company been around? It sounds like kind of a new concept.
It's kind of a new concept as well, but back when we noticed that ADA, they kind of had this, this compliance issue and this code that the cities were having to meet up with. It's been about 15 years we've been doing this work.
Probably not in the same way that we started doing it.
Yeah,
it's
kind of evolved.
And we've really perfected the technology even in the last couple of years to where we can do it in a one-step process and make it really clean and uniform. And one thing that's added, Jared, in terms of technology, has added is dust abatement. To be able to take care of the dust.
That was very impressive how that was picked up immediately, and that can cause quite a bit of particulate matter.
We're concerned about airborne contaminants as well as contamination of storm drains, and that's why we have Jared to take care of those type of technical issues.
Yeah, that and as you get into neighborhoods, particularly where it's heavy residential, that's a big factor too, because I'm sure people want to come around and watch and see what you're doing. So, with those particles going, we're going to have to wrap up, and I think as people get to see what you're doing in Long Beach, it's going to be very exciting, because I know 5th Council District, we have 10,682 sidewalks, and we have the most trees. So the combination of the two, we want to keep the trees. They're a beautiful asset to Long Beach, but we've got to make certain that we repair the sidewalks, make them safe. And again, we're one of the few cities that actually goes out and pays for those repairs. So that's another reason why we're looking for some very cost-effective ways so we can stretch our dollars. So we really appreciate you being here. I'm sure we're going to get lots of calls from people about what you're doing and how it can be done throughout the rest of the city of Long Beach. And I want to thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you've done. And I look forward to you doing more sidewalks in our district. I'm Councilwoman Jerry Schipske, and we've been doing the Heart of the City. I want to thank you very much for viewing, and join us again.